Lakeside Dental Clinic, Go Island, is brought to you by Lakeside Dental Clinic.
Just up the highway from the PetroCan in Nanoose, you may have noticed if you drive this way that this building here has been undergoing renovations for the last 2 years, and today we're getting a look inside.
A trip to the hospital is much more than a Nanaimo woman bargained for. Eating healthy on a budget and ziplining in soup. It's hard to believe that the building we're standing in right now looked like this back in 1979. That wasn't that long ago. It was the general store and the post office for the area, and we're delving into some of that history today on Go Island. But first, when 20-year-old Josephine had serious back pains and went to the hospital, she didn't expect that she'd be coming home with much more than just some pain medication. Margot Campbell is with Architrave Design Build, and what is it that the front of this house, now house, and there's a little more story to it than that we're going to get to in just a few minutes. What does it say about this era, and what was this building purposed for?
Okay, this building, the architectural features of this building that are most significant is the parapet wall along the outside, which signifies store. And that's typical from the turn of the century, the 1900. We've been interested in it and taking it back to its original condition as an office in the front.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about the uniqueness of that combination. But one of the challenges is finding out exactly what year the structure was built, and the only clue you have lies in the windows?
That's right, Kate. We've extensively restored the house back to its original condition, looking for clues along the way, looking at how the lumber was milled, what kind of nails were used, and we know that the most significant feature is the cylinder glass shown by the waves in these front windows.
No, we're not quite sure if the camera can pick that up, but it is.
Yeah.
There's a wave in it, and that, do you know why that wave
That
is there?
is how the glass was made. So it was hand blown in a cylinder shape, then cut and laid flat.
Right.
So the flat side was smooth and the upper side was wavy. And apparently from the research we've done, we can indicate that that glass was ceased production in 1914. Wow. And we believe this building is likely older than that.
Okay, now one of the things I noticed when I first walked through these beautiful glass door is the floor. And this is an original floor.
This floor was carpeted when we started our restorations. We removed the carpet, and the floors, which are tongue and groove, and you can see by the gaps and the roughness, the fur, and you can see the material runs in two directions, which gives the floor a lot of structural integrity. And this building being 100 years old, it's ready to go for another 100 years.
Excellent, I love it. And now just a point of interest, that door right over there at one point went through to a post office. It's a utility room now. Now, one of the things we've been doing is teasing you a little bit about how there's sort of the shop part and a residential part, which is a unique feature these days. This door has a whole lot of importance. Vince is supposed to be here.
Hello, hi. Hi, come on in.
What is the significance of this door?
Well, this door separates the shop from the house.
And is that not just a home office working from your home? It's different than that.
Well, today's terms, it would be a home office, but I guess because at one point this was a shop house, so there was a general store in the front and a shopkeeper in the back. So that's a traditional form of housing.
You guys are shopkeepers now.
We are shopkeepers, yes.
And a lot of the ladies who are sitting over there are reminiscing about their childhoods, and they remember the shop here. This was the candy store. We're going to get into a little bit of that after a short break. Still to come today, low-cost meals with nutrition in mind and an adventure through the treetops with Dan Kahn. I am liking the chairs in our pattern combination here at Architrave Design Build. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. Eating healthy and nutritious meals is extremely important for young children and mamas or mamas to be, and it's not always easy to do on a low or limited income. That's where Nanaimo Community Kitchens comes in. They are offering a class called Bellies to Baby. There is a fundraiser coming up for the Nanaimo Community Kitchen. It's called Oktoberfest, and it takes place at the Queen's Hotel. It is a beer and burger, and you can get tickets through the Nanaimo Community Kitchens. The phone number for that, 250-753-7470. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. We're in the middle of a little bit of a tea party as we take a walk down memory lane. What do you remember, Edna, about this very building?
Well, when I was about 10 years old, that would be a long time ago, maybe about 36, I used to come with my dad and my sister, and we lived way up Northwest Bay Road, so that's a long way away, and we'd walk down and we'd get candies. Now, we didn't have very much. A few pennies would buy a lot of candy, and I remember little white ones, and they were eucalyptus candies. I cannot remember why we bought eucalyptus candies, because when we had a cold, they would give us a spoonful of sugar with a few drops of eucalyptus oil on. But that's what we bought, and that was a real treat to go down there. We'd come down here to this store.
Yeah, I don't imagine there were nearly as many choices back then as there are today. What do you remember?
I remember coming down here.
And sorry, this is Kathy, Edna's daughter, by the way.
And by the time I rolled around, we were now driving instead of walking. But we'd go down to the beach, but we'd get to stop here. And I'd have the grand sum of 5 cents, my whole allowance. And I would buy candy. Jawbreakers.
I'm sensing a theme here, candy.
3 for a penny. And I remember the floor was really rough. And one day I had my little bag of candy. It was a treasure. And I was looking at it, just imagining how good everything was going to taste, and I tripped on the floor. You have never seen anybody move as quickly as I did. Those candies were scooped up into my bag, and off I went.
And how old were you at that time?
Probably 5 or 6.
And you remember it clearly?
I remember candy clearly.
Yeah.
You didn't get candy very often.
Right.
Like, it would be maybe once a month.
Okay, not like today. Every day. I think there's kids that get candy every day. As a parent, I'm a little bit guilty of that myself. What do you remember, Julie? And we're going to talk to Julie a bit more later because she's got a box full of memories.
Yeah, I remember the store very well. My sister worked in the post office after school and weekends, and we've been, the family's been here about 7 generations, and my cousin Margie and I grew up on the farm just up the road, so she has memories as well. And yes, I remember Mr. and Mrs. Oman in the beginning, in the 40s, and then she remarried Mr. Sieben, and it was Sieben's store. So
7 generations. And Julie brought one box of 45 that we're going to have a little dig through later on this edition of Go Island. Margie, what's a memory that you treasure from this place?
Oh, there's lots of memories. Walking down to the store here from the farm, and my mom would give me some money, and I'd have to pick up the mail. And in those days, there was no computer, you know, and so you got a letter. And maybe there was a letter from my grandma. She was my pen pal.
And where was she?
She was over in Vancouver. But, you know, you just didn't get
You didn't just pick up the phone and call long distance?
Not in those days. And just, you know, just having the sense of community with seeing Tony and Renee and picking up the mail, your few groceries, and then walking home.
Nice.
Yeah, it's great.
Simple days, simple life. We need more of that back. It's too rushed, and we're always in our cars these days. We're taking a walk down memory lane today on Go Island. We'll be doing more of that after a short break. Julie Burridge grew up in the Nanoose area, as did 7 generations of your family before that. And we're standing in the newly renovated building that is Architrave Design Build, and right across the street is the Arlington Inn. And back in the day, that was the center of the community.
Very much so, yes.
How so?
My great-grandparents built it in about...
Your great-grandparents built it?
In 1994. They ran it as a hotel. It was there were balls there, and people from all over state.
In 1894, is this them?
This is the couple that built the Arlington. My ancestors, the Thompsons, and that's what the hotel looked like in the very beginning. Pretty rustic, and you can see the horse and carriage and the carts outside.
And I can imagine those horses and carts sort of coming across what is now the highway to the front doors
just
here.
a dirt path. This is the register of the Arlington Hotel from back in the day. And everybody who came to stay, they signed their name in and the city they came from. And,
1910.
Yes.
And what's this purple marker? Here, let me hold that for you. Why is this?
This is actually a notice Mr. Sieben had stayed in the hotel in 1947.
And he's from Edmonton.
And he's from Edmonton, and he actually ended up owning this store with Mrs. Oman, the widow.
Right.
So, it goes back a long way.
What's it feel like being in here now and what it looks like today?
Well, it's beautiful. What a change.
whole
It's a
new
pretty rustic
era.
store. Yes.
Yeah.
This is a little interesting thing. It's the visitor's book at Montrose School.
Which was where?
We had 3 schools. One was in Bryn Mawr across Northwest Bay up in near Beachcomber area, and one was at Red Gap where the flats are, where the mill was in those days.
Yeah.
And this Montrose School was up on a place called Dawson's Farm, up on the highway, just past the Chevron. And this is what the people came to on Education Week. They came and they signed their names. So everybody that was a parent or even a community interested person, they would come and sign in and spend the day watching the children do their work.
And thankfully, we're going to be doing that soon. We'll be signing our own books in today's modern age as our kids once again head to the classrooms. Julie, thank you. This is only one of 45 boxes of family history that Julie has brought to share with us today. We're going to throw things over now to Mr. Dan Kahn. He's ziplining today. That brings us to the end of this edition of Go Island. We really enjoyed our step back in time here at Architrave Design Build. Before we go, just a quick event to mention coming up on Sunday, September the 28th. It's the annual Cash for Kids Fun Day from the Nanaimo Oceanside Rotary. It runs from 11 until 5 at Maffeo Sutton Park in Nanaimo. There is an admission fee with all the proceeds going to youth in Nanaimo, all kinds of fun stuff, hamster balls and bull riding and sumo suits and a performance stage where the kids will actually perform. For full details, you can go online, oceansiderotary.ca. Thanks for watching Go Island. We will see you next time.
Lakeside Dental Clinic Go Island is brought to you by Lakeside Dental Clinic, a division of the Vancouver Island Implant Centre, delivering dental services, including dental implants and sedation dentistry, all under one roof. Clothing supplied by Catwalk Fashions. Kate's Hair and Aesthetics provided by Maffeo Salon.